I also find it interesting that the people who call me homophobic slurs are probably the people that self-pleasure themselves to me, self-homicide pleasure themselves to me every single night before they go to sleep.
Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me anything you like, Eddie.
When the I have trouble with that word.
That's okay.
Autopsy?
Yeah.
When it comes back as homicide, does that mean a murder took place?
It means that somebody else other than the person who died is responsible for his death.
Wrong. You need to go back to school.
Okay, so tell me, so let's have a conversation about that. Explain to me how somebody is dead with a knee on that person's neck for 8 minutes. Oh, no. Hold on. Can it be labeled a homicide if somebody willingly takes drugs by themselves with no help from anybody else? Could that be considered a homicide, sir? Yes or no?
Sir.
Okay.
Homicide means somebody else.
I'm going to ask you the same question again.
What are you dragging on my dick?
Eddie, I know it's very difficult for you to have a respectful conversation. Let's try this one more time. Okay. I know, Eddie, it's really hard for you, but I'm asking you respectfully. Let's see if you can answer this question. Is there any case in American history where a death was labeled a homicide after an autopsy when that person died of a drug overdose from themselves giving themselves drugs? Can you name me one case in American history where...
Every day.
Okay, so name me one case then.
Every day.
Then name me one case, please, sir.
Every day.
Sir, I'm going to ask you one more time.
Is it labeled as a murder?
Sir,
answer my question.
Sir, pot him down again. You just said every day that a death can be labeled a homicide by self-inflicted drug overdose. Now, since you said every day, that would mean there's probably millions of cases out there. Eddie, can you specifically name one specific case where somebody died, the autopsy labeled it a homicide, and it was just self-induced drug overdose? Can you name me one, please?
I just found it. 1987.
Okay, tell me the case. Let's talk about it. Since you Googled it.
Shapiro show goes
okay,
down.
All right, there we go again. Keep him on the line. That's okay. So obviously he can't. So by Eddie's standards, because he's so stupid, he would claim that Michael Jackson's death was a homicide. He would claim that Prince's death was a homicide. He would claim that Jimi Hendrix's death was a homicide. Did Jimi Hendrix die from homicide, sir? Yes or no? Answer the question, dumbass. Did Jimi Hendrix die of homicide? What's the matter? Cat got your tongue, dumbass? Dumbass. Answer the question, dumbass. Did Jimi Hendrix die of homicide? Yes or no?
Faggot.
Okay, then he calls me a homophobic slur. Have a nice day, Eddie. Have a nice day. We proved you wrong once again. You have no argument. You have no idea what you're talking about. Let me help somebody like Eddie, who has an IQ of 20, who just called me a homophobic slur because he knows he has no argument. Let me be very clear. It's not a homicide when you self-drug overdose. That is not what we would consider a homicide. Eddie doesn't know the definition of homicide. Eddie's not smart enough to understand what that means. But I'm really shocked that another middle-aged, white Republican that is ill-informed and uneducated and can't even put a sentence together would use a homophobic slur when his argument falls to pieces. Why don't we go to my co-host who is joining me in studio tomorrow, but he's licking his chops. He couldn't wait to chime in. What's up, Leonard?
Hello, is it Brian?
No, this is not. This is Leonard. I'm a 25-year veteran police officer. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Leonard?
Hey, I just wanted to clarify a couple things. So homicide is defined as the killing of one human being by another.
Correct.
I'm correct. There's no drug overdose.
So I was correct on that. That's the point I was trying to make.
The killing of one human being by another. Number two, Jack Posobiec lied about the Minneapolis. Anyone can look it up. So in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you can look up the police policy, and it expressly forbids kneeling on the neck. I was a defensive tactics instructor and use of force instructor when I was a police officer, and the knee goes in between the shoulder blades. When you're taking someone down, it goes in between the shoulder blades, and we teach that if it slides up through the neck because the person's resisting, that you have to get your knee off the neck and back onto the shoulder or shoulder blades for control.
Is there, Leonard, is there any proof at all or any case at all that you can defend putting your knee on somebody's neck for 8 minutes that is handcuffed with their on their stomach and not fighting an officer? Is there any precinct in the country where that's policy? As we bring Leonard back up. Go ahead, Leonard. Sorry, go ahead.
It's strictly forbidden because it's inherently dangerous. And by the way, if you look at the video, Derek Chauvin was acting like he was kneeling down on the beach, in the sand. He was chatting with people and kneeling on his neck, and he was just nice and relaxed. You absolutely cannot do that. Jack Posobiec is a liar. You can tell him I said he's a liar, and he'd come on the show anytime, and I'll tell him the law and the policy that is expressly forbidden. And after the fact, remember, Derek Chauvin had a 20-year career, 19-year career, and he had over 20 complaints, excessive force, excessive use of force. He fired at 2 people with his handgun on 2 different incidents. He was accused of kneeling on someone's neck in 2015. This was not a good cop, Brian, and I would say it to his face. That is not a good cop. So
where is Jack getting this from? I agree with you. Where is Jack getting this from?
Jack is smart enough to know, or the people around him perhaps, maybe not Jack, but Jack is smart enough to know that if you use the Trump technique, if you just keep saying stuff, some people will start to believe it. And I think he's doing it for clicks, and he's doing it for attention. It got your attention. It got my attention. So he's doing it for clicks.
What exactly does it say? The Minneapolis Police Department there, what is the actual policy? Like, what can you state what the actual policy is when it comes to this?
Hold on 1 second.
I'm curious because, this is important. Because when people put out fake information and because they want Derek Chauvin released or they want to make money, it's really, really important.
Oh.
And I knew going into this, I knew, they talk about the drugs that were in his system, and what they don't understand is when it's labeled a homicide, the only way drugs could have killed him is if somebody forced to put drugs in him. I mean, it's just, these people are so dumb. Like Eddie, who called in, who has no idea what the definition of homicide is. He's so stupid. And then he throws out homophobic slurs at me when he has no argument. I mean, these people are so dumb. They're so dumb, Leonard.
So the policy of the Minneapolis, Minnesota Police Department, anyone can look it up, is that you cannot use your knee to kneel on someone's neck for purposes of control. What it does say is that they do authorize a one-arm, not two-arm, a one-arm neck restraint. And when you do the lateral vascular neck restraint, LVNR we call it, that is when you put your arm around someone's neck to cut off the carotid artery and the jugular. You're not allowed to put it across the esophagus. You're not allowed to crush your arm into their neck because you'll end up killing them.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that if they're not obeying orders and
you can't
resisting?
even use it unless you're at a very high degree. You have to be at a very, very high degree of use of force. And a matter of fact, we have something that's called a use of force continuum. So maybe you tried verbal orders. Maybe you had to spray them, or maybe you're trying to put the handcuffs and they're physically resistant.
Right.
And you take them down, and then you do a joint manipulation. Now they grab your gun, or they grab your partner's gun, or they're punching one of your officers in the head and got him on the ground. Yes, then you can use the LVNR because it's a higher level of use of force. But you can't just do it randomly on citizens just because you want to hold them down. No, it is not authorized for restraint and control. It's at a much higher level. And Jack Posobiec is trying to get clicks, and I think you should. I'm going to write something on Twitter myself. I think you should confront him and say that he's a liar. And if he wants to call in, we'll prove him wrong.
So Jack Posobiec is a coward on a lot of different levels. First of all, he's blocked me on social media. Then he unblocks me. Then he blocks me again. We did a segment on Piers Morgan about censorship. And I said, Jack, you're the last person to talk about censorship because you block everybody you disagree with, including me. Then he unblocks me. Then he blocks me again. The bottom line is Jack Posobiec is like the white version of Candace Owens. He is a white supremacist sympathizer. He only says and does things to make money and get clicks, which is why he was the guy who started the whole Pizzagate, the whole Pizzagate thing, which was obviously debunked and not true. He's not a serious person. And then you have people like Ben Shapiro, that little weasel, who also
and Ben Shapiro's, it's the same thing. He's just a cavalcade of talking points. When you actually listen to Ben Shapiro, he doesn't actually go back to the root of the argument like you do. You go back to the root of the argument. You provide facts. You provide figures and dates and your opinion. What Ben Shapiro does, he's just really good at studying talking points and stringing them together. I've never heard him actually make a factual point that mattered. Me personally.
Yeah, I think the only fact that I would come up with Ben Shapiro is a little weasel who doesn't know how to pleasure a woman. That's what I would say about Ben Shapiro.
Hey, Brian, you can't. Come on, man, you can't say that about me.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ben Shapiro. Hi,
Come on,
everybody.
man, you can't say that about me.
Hi, everybody. I'm 4 feet tall, and I make women as dry as the desert. Hi, I'm Ben Shapiro. What a little weasel. That little weasel, and he wears that yarmulke on his head like he thinks he's a better Jew than everybody else. He's a atrocious Jewish person. He is a bad Jew, and I'm going to say that because I'm Jewish. He gives Jews a bad name. All he does is brag about how much money he makes, and then we wonder why there are so many idiots out there that make the tropes. It's because of stupid people, of course, and then people like Ben Shapiro. All he cares about is money. He doesn't care about how many people he hurts. He doesn't care if he says things that aren't true. He hires people within his organization like Matt Walsh, people who make a living attacking transgenders 24/7. Make no mistake about it. The only reason why he fired Candace Owens is because she finally gave a little pushback when it came to the Israeli government. And listen, I'm not defending Candace Owens. I think she's a grifter and a terrible human being. But she was right about the Israeli government. And Ben Shapiro is the one that fired her because of that. Let me make no mistake. Benjamin Netanyahu could bomb every country in the world, and Ben Shapiro would still defend Israel. I've just had it with these people. I've had it.
Yeah, I think if you ever debate him, because, in the live chat once people were talking about, I think if you debate him, I think you crush Ben Shapiro. That's just my opinion.
My understanding is Tim Pool's working on it. I'm in talks to try to get him on the next debate. So we'll wait and see what happens, my friend.
Well, hopefully I'll be in studio tomorrow with you, and
I'll see you tomorrow.
Hopefully we'll get some callers calling with the same foolishness.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Leonard, thank you. I appreciate your expertise on this issue. It's really important. Jack Posobiec is a liar, and anybody else out there on social media that are saying this was completely illegal technique that Derek Chauvin used is a liar. You heard it right there from the police department, from Leonard, who has over 25 years of police work as experience. And it would also have to be when somebody is not on their stomach with their hands behind their back and handcuffed, that is not resisting. Nowhere in any police department in the country does it say that if someone is not resisting and they're lying on their stomach and they're handcuffed and they're not going anywhere, that you're allowed to put a knee on someone's neck for 8 minutes. It's absurd.